What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Monday out there, everyone, everywhere. The daily Jeromes live stream is back at again. Man, they changed the format. They changed the layout. Wait, hold on. I'm good at technology and stuff. Yeah, so welcome back. I missed you guys. It's been like 10 days since your last one. There we go. Updated. Yeah. A lot to talk about, and I'm pretty sure that the Vikings just wait until I go on vacation to an undisclosed location and then just completely poop on, whatever was going on. Just get out all the news, get it all out all right now, right? So if you want to support the work, hit that join box down below, become a monthly or platinum Jerome, get yourself one of those purple check marks, as well as Venmo is always open. The description is in, or links in description. So there we go. Now, feels good. I mean, the Vikings back on the practice field today. Well, practice, they're doing conditioning and walkthroughs, which, frankly, I think are actually more important than like practice. But yeah, and it does feel like football. I mean, there's a chill in the air. Minnesota today, I think it's a high of 72 or something like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So hot ass Minnesota summer, definitely appreciate it after cold ass Minnesota winter. But there is just something about that crisp fall air when it comes in, where you got the weather where the mosquitoes starting to die off, and it's not too hot, it's not too cold. You can still bang around outside in flip flops and shorts and a t-shirt, but you just know, you just know, like it's football season, it's gonna be hunting season, like everything is in season. That's just great. Yeah. So we got a bunch of Q's and A's. Just getting back in the swing of things. Hope you had a great week off last week. All the news came down. Michael Pierce opting out. Everson maybe going to Green Bay. Probably not. Spielman extended. Jefferson on the COVID list. Hasn't come off yet. Starting to be a little bit concerned. Yeah. All right. So here we go. We'll do a couple shout outs here later on. Ethan Griffith. It seems like having a season can only be successful if the bubble model is adopted by the NFL. Do you think they'll wise up and realize that? I don't think you have to go full on like draconian NBA inside a bubble. Also, just because of the size of the rosters and support staffs, that's not really feasible. As well as just because, you're not going to put all the teams in one central location like the NBA is doing. So that's also not feasible. But I think that they're both learning from what is working from the NBA as well as what is not working with baseball. Because the NFL's model is going to be a lot more like baseball, because you do have teams traveling from city to city, no fans, but also you do have players like going out, having lives, and you do have to be able to regulate that, put that in as part of the equation. So hopefully the NFL will start getting it right. Viking Aggie 2028. Which offensive lineman should the Vikings try to get in next year's draft? Haven't done a ton of research. Wyatt Davis from Ohio State is a bad man. He's a bad man. Penny Sewell from Oregon, of course, stud. The tackle from Stanford, I think his name's Little. He's not a little dude. He's big. He's a stud. Off-ball king. Would the return of 96 questions benefit you emotionally, physically, and spiritually? I mean, yeah. I mean, having a fun, lighthearted segment would be phenomenal. I think you do need someone with the charisma and loquaciousness of a Brian Robinson. I don't know Armand Watts from Adam. He's the current number 96. Maybe he'd be good. I don't know. Actually, personality-wise, I think Michael Pierce would have been phenomenal. But obviously he opted out because Michael Pierce is a funny dude. Right? If you give him a follow on social media, it's pretty hilarious. But I don't know which current Viking would be good. Actually, do Kirk just for like the awkward cringe factor. That would actually be really good. Next up, Boom Addict. Since you aren't a big fan of Vacation, did all the drama make it easier, more enjoyable? Also, thoughts on the curse suspension. Well, all the drama breaking, we were able to sneak away for some times because, like, when you are camping, there's a lot of downtime. Not gonna lie, but it was great. I didn't even talk about Vacation. So we got out, camped, fished, all the good things, cooked over fire, all the great things in life. But yeah, all the Vikings drama dropping at the same time. I try to do my best when it comes to, hey, family time, phone in pocket or not even on you at all. But when all the news is breaking fast and furious, it was just kind of like, yeah. Thoughts on the curse suspension? Well, knew it was coming, and 3 games has been pretty much run of the mill for DUIs. I thought it may be more given the gun involved, but yeah, I think it was also one of the big reasons why Curse wasn't re-signed here. Also, the relationship between him and Zimmer just completely deteriorating because, Zimmer trusted him. Like, he was a special teams captain. He's a leader of this team. And then you just could go do that, be an idiot on the bye week, and you get Mike Hughes involved as well. Nah. Next up, Army 13. Tony Brown and Kirk Cousins hold the record for most one-handed catches in 60 seconds. Look it up on YouTube. Is that from the Pro Bowl? Kirk threw it 40 times to AB without him dropping the ball. They could have even more. AB pass ball. Would you sign AB after his 8-game suspension is over? Hell, I would sign AB now because it counts against the 80-man roster. Whatever, he won't cost much, as well as he's up on blocks for 8 games. Where 8 games you don't have to pay him. 8 games it doesn't count against the 53-man rooster, and then you make your decision at the end of it. He might even have trade value at the end of it. Yeah, why not? Actually, we should talk about that tomorrow. Sign AB. Pretty easy. Next up is LT87 GOAT. Do you think the Vikings will re-sign Kirk? Well, Kirk Cousins. I actually think that they will, mainly for cap reasons coming up in the next couple years. So, let's see here. 22 by... so it does go week to year. All right. So Kirk Cousins on the extension, his 2022 salary becomes fully guaranteed on the 3rd league day of the 2021 season. Now, I thought initially that was the 2020 season, but of course that didn't make sense. But overall, the full contract value is fully guaranteed. But also, I don't think the Vikings will float a $45 million cap hit with Kirk in 2022, where even at 34, starting to get south of cheese. Like, maybe they tack on one more year just to spread out the cap hit. So you could see that if they decide to continue to roll with Kirk Cousins, which they might. Next up, Ethan Griffith. Glad to have these back. Missed you, Andy. Missed you too, man. I almost want Kirk to opt out this season at this point so we can tank. Also already missing our best defensive tackle and our cornerback and wide receiver cores. Extremely young. Thoughts? Well, if Cousins does opt out, yes, certainly tank. Hell. No, Daniil should not opt out because he needs those stats to forward to get towards the all-time sack record. But also, if Kirk opts out, he is a year older. He's going to be 34 next season. And if you're a team that does not find yourself often at the top end of the draft, like when you are, through happenstance, you do need to take a quarterback because that's where franchise quarterbacks are at the top of the draft, especially in the upcoming quarterback draft, which, you could have 5 quarterbacks in the first round, maybe even 6, depending on the Wake Forest kid. All right, so you got Trey Lance. You have Trevor Lawrence, of course, who should opt out of the season, by the way. Justin Fields could be a stud for Ohio State. I like him coming out of Georgia. Not Georgia. And then also Brock Purdy's getting some love from Iowa State. I'm not a big fan, but some people like him. Tanner Morgan with the Gophers. So, man, if Kirk did opt out, citing health concerns, they're going to draft his replacement. Or they should, for sure. Or what do you do? Maybe Ezra Cleveland actually does well at guard, and then you take Penny Sewell to be your left tackle of the future. Ooh. You take Tanner Morgan at the top of the second. Maybe he'll be there, or you trade back in. Why the hell not? Why the hell not at that point? Brian Kayukin, is our defense screwed without Michael Pierce stuffing the run? Well, he was going to be a big upgrade. And, last year, Shamar Stephen was bad against the run. Linval Joseph certainly wasn't what he used to be, as well as I think teams did take advantage of the Vikings having to kick Stefan as well as Afadi inside as much as they did. So, yeah, Michael Pierce was going to be that guy. He was going to be that guy who took up 3 bodies, took up 2 gaps, and was going to be one of the big reasons why Eric Kendricks would have even a better season. So now that gone. I mean, frankly, there isn't really a true nose tackle on the roster. You do have a lot of guys that are more like 1-tech, 3-tech hybrids. You look at Stefan, Jaleel Johnson, Armon Watts, even David Moa, who's extremely undersized to be an every down nose tackle. So it's going to be tough. Where's that? What was that guy's name who's on the Colts? Made the roster like 2 or 3 years ago. That was like, how did he make it? David something. It doesn't matter. Mo Abdul 99. I think Lynch would be a great 3-tech replacing Pierce. Maybe we can re-sign Everson and maybe move him inside. Well, Lynch as 3-tech, yes. Wouldn't necessarily be replacing Pierce 1-to-1. Pierce much more of a nose. Re-signing Everson and kicking him inside. I know that he wouldn't be a fan of it, but also if he's running out of options, he may have to if he wants to play this year. Nick Doroff. Which Minnesota Vikings player's kid will most likely be in the NFL? So I'm trying to think which players do have kids. A lot of them don't. I know Adam Thielen has sons, so he is a pretty easy one to say. God, who else? I think Everson has daughters. Kirk has a son, right? I don't know. Try not to dig too much into personal lives because family members, non-combatants. But I don't know. I guess Thielen's kid. I mean, Thielen is a part owner of like a training gym, so this kid from day one is gonna get trained like Ivan Drago or Todd Marinovich. So I guess Thielen's kid. Next up, Charlie Boltman. Is this team capped by the trio of Spielman, Zimmer, and Cousins? If so, could this take making negotiations tougher with team veterans? Players seem willing to take less team-friendly deals as opposed to recent years. Are the Vikings at risk of facing some locker room blowback if they don't get Harrison Cook locked up long-term before the season? Did Peter King give the virus to Sugarman? That would actually be funny. Team capped. I've thought about this where Spielman, Zimmer, and Cousins, and we even talked about this in the video the other day, where they are, all 3 of them are good at their respective positions, but the question is, can they be great? And the Wilfs obviously do like stability, and I think that you could certainly do a lot worse at either one of those positions, but also I'm not sure at this point you could get better than all 3 of them combined. I mean, they have worked together for a number of years. Their futures are all tied together. So I think the Wilfs are just betting that, hey, we'll find out in the next 2 to 3 years if this is going to work or if we have to blow up the whole thing, which actually could be a blessing in disguise. So I think to a degree, this is the Wilfs wanting stability because they know that they can field a good to very good product with this trio. But also, if it doesn't work, it gives them the green light. It's like, all right, start over, completely tear it down, and go from there. Next up, Pulford Skull. AB suspension is 8 games. By the way, let us know where you're watching from. Give a couple shouts. I always love doing that. Pulford Skull, AB suspension is 8 games. He can attend training camp and then sits out till trade deadline. I mean, come on, one time. Sign him up super cheap. Keep him in the back pocket for COVID concerns and injuries. Will be a major boost at midway to bring that kind of talent out. That's good in theory. I don't know if the Vikings would do it. The Vikings have placed a premium on character. And now, yes, you could point to, well, they held on to Rock Thomas for so long. They brought in Michael Floyd as a rehab project, etc. But AB might be a little bit too far gone. Supreme talent. I mean, 2 years removed from leading the league in yards, 3 years removed from leading the league in touchdowns, or vice versa, something like that. So obviously still has talent, but man, I don't even know if I trust him over those 8 weeks not to do something stupid or stay isolated, stay quarantined. Maybe he'll shelter in place, but then he'll throw the balcony furniture off his condo or whatever. God. Like it's like the hot crazy scale from that one show, the crazy talent scale. I mean that makes sense. Samuel Salinger Skull. Who is your favorite draft prospect in this year's draft besides Trevor Lawrence? Also, which day 3 pick do you think will have the best career of the 11 players? Skull. Haven't done a ton of digging on this upcoming draft class, but Wyatt Davis, Ohio State, he's a freaking dude. Trey Lance, of course, NDSU, the Pride of Marshall, Minnesota. I think he's pretty easily going to be a top 10 pick, probably top 5 pick. I think he'll be one of the top 3 quarterbacks taken, as well as, who else do I like? Oh, Chuba Hubbard. I think he's really talented on the field. You do questions like, hey, man, why'd you randomly throw your coach under the bus for wearing a T-shirt and then walk back your comments? Well, I do chalk it up as just like a young kid, just saying things. Happens a lot. See what else? Or who else? Oh, Travis Etienne from Clemson. Man, Travis Etienne is a stud. He absolutely is. And the Vikings could be in the market for a running back next year. As well as Rashad Bateman, Jamar Chase, the Virginia Tech cornerback who opted out. He's really good too. Name escapes me. Vikings will probably draft another quarterback. Who do you think will have the best career of the 11 players day 3? Probably DJ Wanham. I mean, James Lynch is probably the easy answer, but I think DJ Wanham just has so much physical freaking talent. I'm really excited about DJ Wanham long term. Like, I think there's a chance that James Lynch could get on the field first because I think he's a touch more NFL ready. But I think long term, as well as ceiling potential wise, DJ Wanham just laps Lynch. Here, a couple shout outs. Nick Purple Rain Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Drove by Wausau last weekend. It's a nice town. Well, it's a nice exit, at least. Nick Doroff, Skull from Anoka. What's going on? Northern Burbs. Corey Chris, Skull from Floodwood, Minnesota. I just said Minnesota, very Minnesotan-y. Where's Floodwood? In the city of Floodwood, we keep it rocking. Oh, it's just outside Duluth. How'd it get its name? Nah. Do they have a McDonald's? How much you want to bet? I would say no. Actually, I think I was camping here once. Yeah. All right. Next up is Mike Benham, Skull from Grand Rapids. What's up? Zach Balla, Skull from NoCo. Question about A, B, so skip it. All right. Devin A. Toff, Skull from Playa del Rey, California. Always in beautiful locales. Skelly, Skull from Des Moines. What up? Charlie Boltman, Skull from Mooresville. What's going on East Coast? Samuel Salinger, Skull from Austria. Let's see. Who are famous Austrians besides Arnold? I got nothing. Samuel Salinger is probably the second most famous Austrian. Desk Fan Man, Skull from, oh boy, Antananarivo, Madagascar. I think I nailed it. I think I did good. John Schwartz, Skull from VB, Virginia Beach? Probably. Lineal Land Vikes for Life. What's up, Jordan? Being held hostage in Super Chat. Caleb Carter, Skull from Lakeville, South Metro representing. I Do Basketball, Skull from St. Paul. Noah Eddington, what up, Andy? Skull from Laredo, Texas. Lord Snow, Skull from Apple Valley, also South Metro representing. James Mardigan, Skull from Valencia, California. Big fan of your oranges. Jake Cornelius, Skull from Hong Kong. Boomatic, Skull from La Crosse. Great town. Great town. Bawataba, Hitler is the most famous Austrian. Is he Austrian? Wait, he might be. I know he was from Bavaria. Was he Bavarian? Ah, man. This is so weird. We're wicking Hitler, just like Deshaun Jackson should have done before, you know. All right. Early years. I know he's a painter. Oh, he was Austrian. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I knew because I knew he wasn't German, but I didn't know exactly if he was Austrian. But that does make sense. Man, You knew from that bowl cut that this guy was not going to be any good. No. All right, next up. Oh, man, you guys are watching. It's great. Joshua Freeberg, Skull from Buffalo. What's up? Now, Buffalo, Minnesota, I'm assuming. Not Buffalo, Western Siberia. Joshy Skull from Maplewood, up to no good. Oh, Christoph Waltz from Austria. Well, that makes sense. Andrew Ken, also from Desmone. There you go. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along on the live chat. Man, or live stream. Whatevs. Let's hear. Oakview. Opinion on dating before college, and did you ever do it? Yeah. I mean, dating in high school, it's a thing to do. Right? But also, I will say, so I'm from a small town, and a lot of people married their high school sweethearts, and I know that some of them regret it. And I'm not saying just go out there and just like, sow your wild oats. It's not really a thing. But I feel like getting to know as many people as possible. And I'm not even talking like in a physical sense, but talking just like in a getting to know people. You actually find out more about yourself, because I don't want to say like settling, but it is sort of settling. You're going to be a lot different person at 16 than you will be at 20, than you will be at 25, than you will be at 30, than you will be at 40, right? So I do highly caution against just like settling down right away. Next up, Ethan Griffith. Rumor has it the NFL monitored this channel heavily and decided to break all the news while you weren't there to call your BS. I believe it. They turned the frogs gay. Stanley Morris. Been a few weeks since I've commented and tuned in live. Been back to work for a while and work swing shift till 3 a.m. I've been trying to catch up on demand. Miss y'all, Jeromes. Well, Stanley. So if you work till 3, get home, say 3:30. Dick around for a little bit, go to bed at 4. You can wake up at 11. That's like 7 hours of sleep. That's perfect. There you go. Luke K. What's your favorite question you've been asked on the live stream for Q&As? Just more off-season stuff, just like really random tangents go down, like historical stuff. That's always fun. But now that's football, I suppose we should focus on football. Zach Ballas. If we do... you told me to skip that one. Creamy emote. Ugh. If the Vikings were to win Super Bowl this year, should there be an asterisk next to the title? No. And I always go back to the 87 season where that was the season with the strike, replacement players. There's never an asterisk next to Washington's Super Bowl win. So, no. Stanley Morris. Who's winning in a fight, Rosie O'Donnell or Whoopi Goldberg? I'm guessing Rosie O'Donnell. Like, there's nothing physically imposing about Whoopi. Plus, I think she's like 15 years older than Rosie. I mean, Rosie was the third baseman on A League of Their Own, and she could whoop some ass. Like, if you told me that Rosie O'Donnell could deadlift 545, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So Rosie by far. Andrew Cannon. Did you ever play football, and if so, what position? Yes, I was a wide receiver and cornerback, a wide receiver on a run first team that never threw the ball. Probably because of the quality of the wide receiver core. Kyle Rippentrop. If the Vikings extend Dalvin, should they front load the deal since they have extra cap this year? Yes. Well, you are going to need some cap this year because of the Rona this year. Like, you will have players coming on and off the 53. And if a player goes to reserve, signing a player from the practice squad or as a free agent will still count against your cap. I think that they're negotiating. Will there be some leeway? Could potentially, but you are going to need some extra cash besides just normal injuries. It's going to be amplified this year because of the Rona. But yeah, if they do extend Dalvin, it would be smart, especially with the uncertainty of next year, to try and eat as much as possible this year, or potentially push some of the larger cap hits towards the back end where there's no guaranteed money, a lot of flexibility, little dead cap. Eric Hansen. How soon will Belichick start using the new COVID regulations to his advantage, or has he already? I wouldn't put it past Belichick to be like, Hey, Patrick Chung and Marcus Cannon and all the other Patriots who have opted out due to COVID. Why don't you sit out and we'll just go 1-15 this year, and then we'll come back next year with Trevor Lawrence, and I wouldn't be shocked at all. Yeah. A couple more shouts. Bloody Soup 74 from the Main Streets of Shoreview, Minnesota. What's up, North Metro? Jonathan Sins, Skull from Princeton, Minnesota. Princeton is the Yale of Minnesota. It's great. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Let's hear. Royal Awesome 519. Do you play fantasy football? And if so, where do you rank Cook and Thielen among their positions? Yes, I do. And if it's PPR, I would put Dalvin top 3. I think the top 3 are McCaffrey, Zeke, Dalvin in some sort of order. Thielen, I put Thielen top 10-ish, especially because of the volume that he's going to get. Like, even though the Vikings are a run-first team, Thielen's going to get the bulk of the work. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he takes up like 30-35% of the Vikings' overall targets. It's not going to be the Randy ratio, but the number 19 is going to get the ball up. Armin 13. Have you seen the Vikings on their YouTube channel video about the draft? Do you think they wanted to move up in the first round, or was Spielman just playing? Yeah, people have said that to me. Where after Jalen Reagor went off the board, Rick Spielman sitting at his computer like, he's got to dip in. And he's like, huh. I will die on this hill. I think the Vikings were completely in on Jalen Reagor, the pride of TCU, but we just got sniped by Howie Roseman at 21. I think they certainly like Justin Jefferson and are certainly fine with him falling to 22, but given the choice between the two, I think they would have gone with the former. Yeah. Luke Zacher. Let's say the corona gets cured a week before the season starts, and then Kirk has a monster season next year, MVP candidate, wins Super Bowl, and not as a game manager. Do you put him above Fran Tarkenton as the best quarterback franchise history? Yes. Any quarterback who wins the Super Bowl will automatically become the greatest quarterback of all time in franchise history. Now, would I even put Tarkenton in one? I'm just playing. It could be a triple option quarterback, and not even one that runs the ball a lot. Just the guy who distributes the football, just hands it off to the fullback, pitches it, does this, does that. He could have 0 completions for 0 yards in the Super Bowl, and he would still be the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, honestly, Jerick McKinnon could come in, run the triple option, run the Wildcat, and just win. Yeah. Haimo Kayukin. How good was a fully healthy Sam Bradford? Top 10 quarterback, top 5? Man, Sam Bradford, when he was healthy, he was dope. He was just really good. Like that week 1, 2017 game, Monday Night Football hosting the Saints, Bradford threw some of the greatest passes that I've ever seen a Viking quarterback drop. Just we're talking absolute dimes under the lights, and it was just ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. When fully healthy, I wouldn't say top 5. You can make a top 10 argument for sure. I mean, there are some years with the Rams when he was fully healthy, they didn't really do much, but when he was protected, had weapons around him, I mean, just like Kirk Cousins, like he wow. There's some wow. Jack Martinson. Out of all the professional Minnesota sports teams, which ones are your favorites and least favorites? So I know it's like sacrilege. Don't really care about the Wild. Pretty indifferent about soccer. Like the Lynx. I like that they win, which is awesome. I'm just not overall a big basketball fan. I guess the Wolves would be next. Sorry, we're going from the bottom up. Twins would be my number 2 team. And then, of course, the Vikings. Yeah. Jangle Pop Check. What are your thoughts on Diggs' subtle shot at the Vikings on Twitter? There's a video coming out about that tomorrow. I don't see why he keeps the animosity going. Because he's a kid. A side note, R.I.P. Corey Stringer. Yep, it was the 19th anniversary of Corey Stringer's passing on August 1st. R.I.P. Big man number 77. A.J. Barnes. How confident are you in the players we have to fill the Michael Pierce role? I don't have any. We need to pause the stream. I need to sign for a package. BRB. The power editing. It's great. Thank you guys for holding on. Really excited. So we have a yard project and some rather large pieces came in. So yeah, we'll give the full details once we're done. Next up is Phil Piercerell. I don't feel any of them can quite be as good as him, but maybe serviceable at least. Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough again. I think it could be a repeat of next year. I mean, just picking up like a 2-down run stuffer off the scrap heap would make a lot of sense. Snacks Harrison just out there chilling. Right. Street creep. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Disgusting amount of stuff. Charlie Boltman. Love the dancer video. He should play left cornerback. The Vikings should use him like Richard Sherman. This is how Terrell Buckley, most underrated cornerback in NFL history, coached him, used him in Mississippi State. He's a major weapon. If he can be used to force teams into half-field reads, do you think the Vikings rewatched the Niners game and said we need a little bit of that? Yeah, I think that looking at, I think they re-looked at their offensive line after the Niners game. But yeah, Richard Sherman, he's very good in what he does. Now, he's primarily a cover 3 cornerback. He's very good at absorbing one side of the field. And it was almost a trope when he was in Seattle where teams would go up against the Legion of Boom and then just put some slappy wide receiver out on the right side, the left side of the defense where he's at left cornerback, and then just operate on the other side of the field. And that is powerful. Like, if teams are afraid to use a half or a third of the field, I mean, that's a big advantage where you can funnel the rest of the traffic, right? So, I mean, maybe he certainly has the size and the length of Richard Sherman, who I believe is 6'2" as well. So, yeah, it would make a lot of sense. And I do like Terrell Buckley a lot from back in the day. Eric Nelson, do you think Anthony Barr could have been a Pro Bowl edge rusher? Yes, I think he absolutely could, which is also very annoying. Sports. Also, I think he would make a hell of a running back, too. Oh, a couple shout-outs. Preacher Paul is in there. What's up? Evan Casterme, Skull from Toronto. Preacher Paul, Jacksonville, Florida. Tyler Skull from Minnesota. What's up? There we go. All right. Yeah, Anthony Barr was a running back his first couple seasons at Westwood. But, yeah, first 2 years as a defensive end. Ever. 21.5 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. So he had 23.5 sacks his first 2 seasons as a defensive end, which, I think that if the Vikings would have kept him as like a hand-the-dirt edge rusher, I think with Andre Patterson, he certainly could have developed into just like an absolute beast edge rusher. But also, if the Vikings did that to Barr, they probably don't draft Danielle Hunter. So, yeah, I mean, right now, the Vikings could have traded or moved on from Everson, and the 2 edge rushers in their prime would be Anthony Barr and Danielle Hunter. That'd be sick. Next up, Luke K. Now, hear me out. This is all hypothetical. What if we inject the Rona for all of our players so by the time the season starts, we won't have people getting infected so they can recover in time for the season? Seems more like a Belichick move, honestly. Well, I don't think it's been completely proven that even if you have antibodies that in your bloodstream, I don't know if it's been proven that it's like chicken pox where you get it once and you don't get it again. I think that people have been getting reinfected. So, I mean, even though to a degree, like that's what a vaccine is. Like you give yourself a low dose of the virus and then your body builds up an immunity to it. So, I mean, human clinical testing, I think they outlaw stuff like this, but also I do see the quasi-merit in it. Next up, Skull Zone. Which Viking do you think is most likely to opt out to? Well, it's either Kirk Cousins or just like a fringe roster guy who's probably not going to make it. Fringe roster guy where he could see, I'm probably going to get cut. So $150,000 for opting out, $350 if I'm a high risk. That's more than I'll make on the practice squad. Yeah. So he could just take that risk, but also, or not a risk, but make that business decision. Where with Cousins, like we talked about, his entire sheltering in place, quarantining himself in Florida. He does have some family members with some health issues. He has all the money in the world. Like Kirk Cousins has more money than Kirk with his current lifestyle could spend in 1,000 lifetimes. Like, if you told me that Kirk Cousins in the month of July spent $0 on himself, I would believe it. But yeah, so either Cousins or some bottom of the roster dude. Bow to Bob. Why'd the 2016 Vikings start 5-0, but then finish 8-8? So I said this at the time. The 2016 Vikings were getting by on fluke plays that can't be relied on. A lot of special team scores, a lot of defensive scores, a lot of things that just they got a lot of puck luck, and it really covered up the poor offensive line, lack of running game, and it caught up to them. It just did. So like literally luck ran out. Land in hand. Who do you think the starting 3-tech will be? James Lynch. James Lynch, the pride of Baylor. Let's get him on the field wherever. Don't care. Stanley Morris. Is there any way that we will ever know if a player tests positive? Is that going to be under wraps all year? HIPAA ain't ready for the grimy media leagues. Yeah, I can't wait till Adam Schefter starts tweeting out people's medical charts like he did with JPP's hand. But I don't think we'll ever know. Unless a player slips up, be like, yeah, I was just quarantined because I was around someone, contact tracing. Or you could look at the timelines. So actually, we should look up the timelines because it's 10 days, it's 5 days, and it's let's see, NFL. Because you notice the Vikings put 8 players on the COVID reserve list. Only one's come back. Blake Brandel. He came back in 4 to 5 days, depending on if you count Monday. That's it. Okay. Man, this is annoying. If only I'd come prepared. All right. So mitigation, close contact exposure to symptomatic or COVID-19 positive individual. PCR virus test ASAP, isolate until results available. If test negative and close contact remains asymptomatic, if the virus test is positive, individual has no symptoms, 10 days have passed since initial positive test, or 5 days have passed since initial positive test and 2 consecutive negative tests separated by 24 hours, return approved by blah, 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 blah. If the individual is symptomatic, no return until all that stuff, and it gets really dicey in there. So, yeah, as far as I know, as far as I've heard, all of the Vikings cases have been non-symptomatic. And who knows if it was, well, you could probably infer that Brandel's was likely just the close contact exposure, just better safe than sorry. The other ones, I don't know. It's tough. It's weird that we have to play the stupid game of detective, but it is what it is. People's health privacy are their health privacy, which I always find weird, right? If it's a non-football injury, now I understand they put out the injury reports because of sports bettors, but I don't know, like if you have like some weird sort of fungus, or if you got the MRSA or something like that, like how come that gets reported so easily, right? Or like the teams make a press release saying you got the MRSA, or like the clap, not the clap, but yeah. Next up. Eric Hansen. If the NFL revenue drops drastically and they have to condense the league to 30 teams, which 3 teams would you like to see merging into one? Well, not 3 into 1, but 2 into 2. So I would, or 4 into 2. I would say the Rams and the Chargers should just consolidate because LA cannot support 2 teams. They don't care enough. And then merge the Jaguars and the Bucks. Then I think you'd have the entire North Florida on lockdown, or maybe even the Jaguars and the Falcons Get the whole Florida Georgia line thing going on. Yeah. Andy Maxfield, is Brian Winter still worth it to take a shot, or is the shoulder injury just too much at his age? Well, if the shoulder checks out, give it a shot. Don't spend too much. Incentive laden. Dude is a freak athlete. Back on the day. Also get his Kent State teammate Josh Klein. Sign them both. I do basketball. So you played wide receiver, cornerback in high school. If you were to play football today, what position would you play? I don't know. 3-tech fullback. Go full on Nikita Whitlock on the bit. Trevor Boltman, salary cap is definitely dropping to under $75 million for the next 2 to 3 seasons. Will you do a reaction video when Anthony Barr becomes a Jet next season? I mean, sure. I mean, we just trade his ass now. I mean, they don't have C.J. Mosley. Trade him. Big Rover. If anybody's trying to see Justin Jefferson in 2K's gamer tag is free Mr. Bill Cosby. I don't know if that's true. Charlie Boltman. Was Terrell Owens unfairly canceled by the NFL long before he physically broke down? Posted 984 yards in 14 games this final season before getting canceled blackball. I saw him race Tyreek Hill a couple weeks ago, and he clocked an official 4.4740 at age 46. Tyreek beat him by 1.5 feet and clocked a 4.37 unofficial. This race is posted on Tyreek's YouTube channel. I mean, Terrell Owens can still play. But yeah, at a certain point, the juice just was not worth the squeeze. But yeah, was he blacklisted? No, I think it was just more teams just ran out of patience with him. But I mean, even his Buffalo season, even that final Cincy season, like I said, 72, 983, and 9 touchdowns on how many targets? 139. That's still good. It's still really, really like if Justin Jefferson put up that stat line this season, that T.O. put up in his final season in Cincinnati in 2010, I mean, you'd be happy with that. Like you would go for 72 catches, 983 yards, blah, 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 right? But T.O. was so damn good. But he just wore out his welcome everywhere he went. Like San Francisco got sick of him. Philly got sick. Like Philly went to the Super Bowl with him. Him and McNabb. Like if they could get along, they could have got along. I think Andy Reid would have won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. Dallas obviously got sick of him pretty quickly, and there was. I don't think there was a blacklisting. There was definitely a blackballing, like especially when like Terrell Owens had to wait to get in the Hall of Fame. He pretty clearly was a first ballot Hall of Famer, but yeah, be what it be. Lastly. Stanley Moros, how true is it that Minneapolis governor has asked his residents to be ready to turn over phones and cash to criminals in instances of robbery? Saw a bunch of tweets from political correspondents saying robbery guidelines issued by city officials. Like, is this real life? I've been trying to tune that out as much as possible. Mainly more concerned. School's not opening, which, you know, I think that there's, if schools are completely shut down again, distance learning does not work, by the way. You try to get a kid to sit in front of a laptop and listen to something boring, please. As well as, high school kids, trying to get them to do online homework, best of luck to you. So I think that there could be a significant education gap for a number of years, especially, imagine if you were like a high school junior last year, senior this year. You missed out on half your junior year. I'm not talking about just like sports and like social aspects. I'm talking about like actual education. So you're going to go potentially into college with a high school sophomore level of education, which I don't know, maybe you don't get into college, maybe you actually get into a trade, which is actually probably better for you in the long run. But yeah, I've been really paying attention, but there you go. So that is it. The live stream is back. We're actually talking football. It's a lot of good time. I don't know, probably talk about soup tomorrow. It's going to be good. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for coming along. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time. You know what it is. Skull, production value.